Hello, everyone. I hope this is recording. I'm going to share screen. Today, our lecture will be on colorism. I hope this works. And let me get me out here. Okay. It's so much harder to do online than actually to come to class. All right, today's lecture is on colorism, particularly within the Asian American community. So let's start. What is colorism? Colorism is the prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark tone, typically among people of the same ethnic group or racial group. Oxford Dictionary definition. There's a new book right out there by edited by Nikki Canna. If I ever taught Asian American women, I would definitely use that book called Asian American Women and Skin Color and Colorism, called Whiter. That just came out in 2020. So if you want to pick that up, looks great. New York University Press. So let's go to another definition of colorism. Alice Walker says colorism is prejudicial or preferential treatment of same-sex people based solely on their color is addressed in our communities and definitely in our Black sisterhoods. We cannot, as a people, progress. For colorism, like colonialism, sexism, and racism, impedes us. So that's a wonderful adding to the Alice Walker as a wonderful adding to the kind of Oxford definition, right? And she's talking about colorism within the African American community, but it definitely can apply to the Asian or Latino or various communities. So it's well known in the African American community, there's something called the paper brown test, which means you cannot get into these elite college kind of fraternity sororities if you are not lighter than a paper bag. And so this is a big issue within the Black community. So, I thought about this, but I never really thought about it. But look at these actors and actresses and rappers who get to, represent, quote, African-American kind of arts, right? They are extremely light-skinned people, and many of them are multiracial. Like Nicki Minaj is part Asian. Actually, all of them are partly another ethnic group, right? And again, this is what is recorded as a definition of a beautiful African American woman or someone who makes it in the industry. Okay, so colorism, I want you to know, is not just within the community, but it's also between the community too. So here, if you don't know, this is Sammy Sosa. He was a baseball player. Look at that. Over the years, he's just changed his tone. Like, what is that telling people, right? He uses a skin whitener, right? Very shocking, okay, to change his skin. So he's Afro-Latino, and this is a huge thing in the community of Afro-Latinos, right? Very shocking. So I wanted to go back to, did colorism start in the US? Certainly not. It was actually all over the globe, right? 3rd century Asia, you could see like accounts of beautiful women, and they were, beautiful Asian white women, even like goddesses. But I want to talk just a little bit about colorism in the United States, particularly like, let's go to Sammy Sosa. Colorism is definitely the preferential treatment of people within your group of lighter skin, but also between the groups. Remember, actually slave owners who were they coerced or forced their slaves had children, and those children were light-skinned, and those light-skinned children tended to work more in the houses, right, and lighter, easier work versus the fields. And so there has been this preference even within other races to prefer people of different races of the lighter skin version, right? So that's very interesting. No, so it's absolutely not just an American thing. It's actually global. It's all over, okay? So here's a Pond's, and Pond's is sold all over the world. It's like a makeup line, if you don't know what it is. They have various lines. Well, here you can see that this like kind of makes you whiter. These are sold, if you go any Asian country, you're gonna find these whitening products, right? It's not uncommon. It's quite common, actually, to see these whitening condoms, and that's an example of one. Let's look closer. It says dark out, white in, increase your face value. What does that tell to people, right? And that's supposed to be an Asian person? Okay, most Asian people don't look like that, okay? So again, it's something really interesting. There's actually been really racist commercials in Asia where a girl, she's sad and looks terrible, and then she gets like some makeover, and she's suddenly light skinned, right? There was even a commercial where they tossed in a dark skinned person in a washing machine, and they took them out, and they were light skinned and happy. So again, very much not just in America. So lighter skin preference all over Asia. This is, you can see this in the one on the right. It says "Stay White Moose." Okay, you actually can find that in Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, all over Southeast Asia. You will see these images, right? Here, this is supposed to be from India, right? India, there's a large hue range of people who are very, very light skinned and people who are darker than most Africans, right? But you see, that is what they're selling in India, okay? And again, in study after study after study on Asia, they all prefer lighter skinned, okay? This is not something that, as people say, oh, they want to be Caucasian. That's not the case, actually. For thousands of years, there's been some sort of preference because they view Asians of dark Asians as a certain kind of like type, right? So looking at Asia, dark skin has been associated with working in the fields and therefore rural poverty, right? And if you're whiter, you're not working the fields, you're lighter skin, you're considered upper class, you're being smarter, okay? So again, these are like very common unjust opinions all over Asia. So I put this SPF, a kind of skin kind of protection up here because I wanted to show, because when I travel to Asia often, there's things in Asia you just don't see in the United States. One of them is these insane SPFs that are like 250, 180. And, in America, you'll have SPF of like 30, 15, 50. But in Asia, it's huge. It's going to 200, over 200. So again, you see this obsession with, lighter skin and keeping your skin light. So does the global have a colorism problem? And yeah, I would say. So if you look at the person, it's, I think, my left, but maybe you're right if you're looking at it. I'm not sure how it would be. On my left, it's Ayesha Ra, and she was Miss Universe. She's Indian. Uh, she's stunningly beautiful. Obviously, is she a typical Indian woman? She has green eyes. She has extremely light skin. Very beautiful, obviously. But a lot of Indians from India, Pakistan, think of South India, including Pakistan, Bangladesh, certainly look nothing like her. Okay, they don't have that skin tone. Okay, now if you take a right, here's Ken. I forget his last name. He is a very famous Thai movie star, and again, having gone to Thailand a few times, I would say the majority of Thai people do not look like him. He is super light skinned. And he's a model, he's a presenter, he's a movie star. But again, he has a lot of features that are, one could say, Caucasianish as well. Okay. So again, these are two global movie stars in South Asia and Southeast Asia. One could argue those are even darker communities. And these are the lightest people you ever to see. So is colorism, is it in Asian America? This is why I wish I was in class with you right now. Oh, I love my job, and I wish I was with you right now. I intensely miss you. But obviously, yes, okay? There's books on it. There was an old book, and a very great book, called Is Lighter Better? Skin Tone Discrimination Among Asian Americans. Asian Americans certainly discriminate against other Asian Americans, okay? Because they are darker, okay? I just saw a recent study in 2019 that said some Asian Americans don't even consider South Indians to be Asian. And I was like, what? How is this possible? They are certainly Asian, okay? But again, it has a lot to do with skin tone, right? And here on the right, you see this Indian woman who is whitening her skin, okay? I don't think this is in India or America. It could be in either, okay? Because I've had several students over the 18 years I've been teaching tell me that they bleach their skin, and this has been in Los Angeles, California. So again, these skin whitening products is all over Asia, also Latin America, Mexico, Central America, certainly all over Africa, even the United States. Okay, so again, shocking. So colorism is definitely in Asian America. And you're thinking, what? Give me further examples. Don't just talk about Cardi B, how she's really light-skinned. Actually, let's talk about the #1 movie in the world when it came out. 2018, you guessed it, Crazy Rich Asians, okay? It was an American film directed by John Chu, Chinese American. It's a novel based based on a novel same name by Kevin Kwan, Chinese Singaporean, okay, wealthy. Look at these stars. These are light-skinned stars. Yes. Let's do a deep dive. Okay. That's Constant Wu. Beautiful, no doubt. Chinese American. But again, Chinese Americans are lots of different hues. Okay. Look how light she is. Yes. Okay. What is that saying to Asian Americans who don't look like her, right? Who don't have that skin tone, right? And Henry Golden, look how light skinned he is. He's actually Eurasian. He's not even fully Asian. Um, he's a presenter, model, movie star now. But he's half European actually. Okay, his father is European, and so again, that's is that the representation of Asian American? Not Asian American men, don't necessarily have those same features, right? And there's lots of different hues of Asian American men. So let's look at the entire cast of, and I think that's the director on the left, so you're probably not right. So we have, on my right, we have Henry Golding, super light-skinned, Eurasian, okay? We have Michelle Yeoh. I think she was like Miss Malaysia in her day. She is extremely light-skinned, right? You look at Gemma Chan. Gemma Chan is also half Irish and half Chinese. So she's also Eurasian. So again, these features are not prominent in Asia. They both have, very narrow noses, right? A lot of Asians have beautiful, flat piggy noses like myself, okay? But these are, not common noses, I think, in Asia, okay? And then in the middle, you have, of course, the beautiful Constant Wu. Obviously beautiful, but, her features are very, I would say not all Asian women look like her. She's very light-skinned, right? So we have Korean American or Chinese, half Korean, Aquafina, rapper, writer, songwriter, okay, now on Nora from Queens, okay? So look at her, she's very light-skinned. And of course, Korea, is home to lots of bleaching as well, okay? So then you have Ken Jeong, who's actually a real medical doctor as well. Dr. Ken, he's also in Community. And also is it the Hangout movies? Or there's some movies that he did series. He's very light-skinned. I assume that is their director, John Chu, okay? So again, if you look at all these, they're all different shades of light-skinned, right? And 2 Eurasian. So again, these are the prominent cast members, right? Of Crazy Rich Asians. So if you look at the entirety of the Crazy Rich Asians, yes, they're all predominantly light-skinned. You really can't say anyone's like super dark-skinned. Okay, there is one guy from Superstore, and we probably can he's dark. He's Southeast Asian. He's Filipino, and we can do another deep dive. He plays like the gay character, right? And so it's like a lot of times in Asian film, or particularly the cartoon or the kind of the soap operas, kind of the gay character is the funny comedic character. So that's another deep dive to talk about later. All right, so does Hollywood have a colorism problem? Yes, but why? Well, they're there to make money, guys, and they want to make with bankable stars where people find them attractive. They have to make money, so there's like always this like money aspect of it. Also, audiences themselves discriminate. Audiences want to see beautiful faces, what they perceive, and also a certain type of beauty. So, is it the chicken or the egg? Is it audience are discriminatory? They only want young and light skin, or is it the opposite? Is it you put out young and light skin because you make the most money, or is it young and light skin get the most money in terms of banking? So it's something to think about. Okay. All right. So let's talk about takeaways. Colorism exists in all humans, especially in Asia and Asian America. Colorism is a form of discrimination of dark-skinned individual within a race, but also between races. We must acknowledge and fight against this cousin of racism. Colorism is wrong. There are lots of beautiful people in every different type of shade, okay? So that's my last slide. If you have any questions, please email me at jenbond@mail.fresnostate.edu. Please don't email me through Canvas. So thank you. Let me just turn this off. I hope I can do this, stop share, and oh,